Benvenuti amici di Tutto Motori Web e di TV Play. Abbiamo con noi oggi Mick Schumacher. Ciao Mick.
Hello, how are you?
Senti,
Fine, thank you.
senti Mick, com'è l'esperienza che stai vivendo come test driver in Formula 1?
Yeah, I mean, the experience as a test driver is obviously very different. Coming from a full-time race seat in Formula One, and obviously before that, previously racing myself in F2, F3, and everything. I mean, I've been racing since I've been 8 years old. So this year has really been the first time in my life since I started racing that I'm not competing professionally, and so obviously it's a bit of a weird feeling, but I have obviously I gained a lot of experience through being here at Mercedes and being able to learn from them, understand them, and grow with them. So I really appreciate the opportunity, and I have to work ahead and look ahead, and hopefully I have some opportunities for the future.
Vado
Ok, vado con la seconda
sì,
domanda.
sì, vai.
C'è la possibilità di un tuo ritorno in Formula 1 come pilota ufficiale?
I mean, as of right now, we have to see the options are quite slim for 2024. But there's never anyone saying anything against 2025. So my goal is for sure still set on going back to Formula One. In what way, that's to be seen, and where especially is to be seen as well.
Senti Mick, quanto ha pesato nella tua scelta di passare in Mercedes il fatto che tuo papà ha chiuso la carriera proprio lì in Mercedes?
I mean, it's a special place to be. I mean, driving the 13 in Barcelona was a very, emotional feeling because I've driven a Ferrari, I've driven a dad's Ferraris, and having driven a Mercedes as well is very special. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be taken in here. But also, I think what's something very special is so many people who work here today have worked back then when my dad was here. So, it's a very close bond, a very continuous, let's say, staff that Mercedes has, and they're great, and it works for a reason.
Chiaro. Ma cosa è successo con la Ferrari? Ci racconti della tua uscita dalla Ferrari Driver Academy?
Yeah, I mean, I was with the Ferrari Drive Academy from 2019 until last year. Our contract came to an end. And so I had to see what other opportunities there were. Unfortunately, there were no driving opportunities, but I've always had a very close relation to Mercedes and Toyota especially. So then, yeah, I wanted to, we was able to be able to be taken up into this program, and I'm happy to be here to work driving it.
Senti, hai guidato sia la F2004 che la V02. Quale ti ha dato più emozioni?
I mean, the Ferrari is a special car, that's for sure. Just because it's always been the dream of mine to drive that car, to drive it on the Joe, and also in was something very, very special. But I think that any car in any circumstances for me to be driving my dad's car is a special moment. I mean, I enjoyed the Jordan, I enjoyed the Benetton, I drove the Ferrari, I drove the Mercedes. So I pretty much drove every, let's say, part of the career of my dad in Formula One. And I'm very grateful for the opportunities.
Yeah. Adesso si parla di un tuo possibile approdo nel web. Ti piacerebbe correre la 24 ore di Le Mans?
I mean, like there are challenges in every category, and obviously, WEC has a very different approach to Formula One. But yet, it is in Le Mans, it is 24 hours of racing, and therefore, yes, it is intriguing. It is interesting to me. It is he's sharing the car with with two drivers, but on the other hand, again, you're racing, and racing is what I love, and therefore, yes, it is interesting for me to try.
Senti, Verstappen ultimamente sta venendo spesso paragonato a tuo papà. Secondo te è di quel livello lì già?
Sorry, that question I didn't understand. So there was something with
Yeah,
Max.
Yeah, Max Verstappen is often compared to your father. Do you actually think he's already at that level?
Ah, I think that overall comparing drivers is always very difficult. It is a very different time. It's a very different constellation. Cars are different. Drivers are different. So I would not compare people and racing drivers from different generations because you don't know how people would react in different circumstances. So I think Max is doing a great job at the moment. I think that's as far as I can go as a comparison.
Vai, Davide.
Ok, cosa ne pensi del motorsport elettrico? Prenderesti in considerazione in futuro un'offerta in Formula E?
Um, I'll be very honest with you. No, I like engines. I like the smell of fuel, and yeah, unfortunately for me, is not that for me at the moment. But who knows what the future is going to hold? If that's all that we can drive, then obviously I'll have to shift my expectations a bit differently. But I love the old school cars, V10, V8s, when it smells and bangs and pops and fire, whatever. Like, I think that's very interesting to me.
Senti, tua mamma è sempre stata molto presente anche nella tua vita in gara. Quanto ti è mancata la presenza di papà al muretto in questa tua prima esperienza in Formula 1?
Um, yeah, I mean, like, I think that I've always had a great amount of support from my family, and I'm very, very grateful for it.
Ok.
Vai, Davide.
E cosa diresti oggi ad un ragazzino, ad un bambino che ha il sogno di diventare un pilota di Formula 1?
Um, I mean, it's a very hard road. It's a very expensive road as well. But I think that it's something. It's if you manage to get through and to manage to build a career in motorsport is one of the things that I feel to me is the most rewarding. You fight for so long, and when you manage to win the championship, the feeling is like no other. So I guess that my recommendation would be see if you get there and if you do enjoy every single moment.
Yeah.
Senti, Mick, in questi anni hai sentito l'amore che l'Italia ha nei tuoi confronti?
Sorry, the love of the
Yeah,
Italians.
Yes, yes,
yeah. In the
love.
last years in motorsport, have you felt the love that Italian fans has for you?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I guess that from also, just what my dad has done with Ferrari, I think that's something that will never be forgotten. And I mean, by myself being part of the Ferrari Drive Academy was something very special, and I very much enjoyed every moment of it. And being able to feel the cheering, but also the motivation that the tifosi give a driver is quite special and outstanding. So I really appreciate it, and I still feel the love that the Italians have for for my family.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your favorite track?
My favorite track. I mean, I think there are multiple. There's Spa, which is I think one of the obvious ones. Then there's Suzuka, which I guess is also rather obvious, and Brazil. Those are my top three tracks that I enjoy driving a lot, just because they all have one thing in common. They have character. They have undulations. It goes up and down. There's grass or gravel right next to it. So, I think that the feeling of an old school track is still yet to be beaten. And I don't think that those modern tracks can get close to that at the moment.